without even realizing it. My last show, the Bournemouth Review, was the 100th Holy Trinity show, if you can believe it. Obviously, an accounting error on my part. I'm not very strong with the maths, and I don't really care about milestones and anniversaries, to be honest. I'm here to entertain and hopefully enlighten you. That's what I do. But somehow, that performance, that result, the double rainbow, kind of made it feel serendipitous in achieving the century mark in Holy Trinity episodes. So I felt, to mark that occasion and to look forward to the next 100 episodes, now is as good a time to share with you that after 43 years of supporting Aston Villa Football Club, I am finally coming down to the Villa. Now, obviously, you are most responsible for making this trip happen, because if you didn't watch this show or send wonderful messages of encouragement and thanks and great comments, not sure I would have stuck it out for 100 shows to get to this stage. So thank you for your eyeballs, your ears, and your fantastic comments and engagement. I can't thank you enough for that. Unfortunately, Rob Young, producer Rob, will not be able to make the trip with me because he has so many commitments. He's a hugely busy guy and he wasn't able to make the time work. But if Rob hadn't called me in April of 2021 saying, hey, do you have any ideas for YouTube concepts? At which time I said yes. Again, I don't think I'd be here at 100 shows or getting ready to go to B6. And Rob has a television background, so he's very fussy about all the really important stuff that makes a show look kind of cool. The video, the lighting, the graphics, all that kind of stuff. So I owe a great debt of gratitude to producer Rob for helping to get to 100 shows, because he's done a lot of work with me and for ultimately helping me get to see the Villa live. Taking Rob's place on this trip will be my trouble and strife, Sandra, who actually was the one who encouraged me to do this show a long time ago, way before I did it. So, obviously the trip's not going to be as much fun. But if I'm going to go to the football and use my kids' savings, at least I need to take one member of the family. And I also need to share my gratitude for the financial support you've provided this show through the super thanks, because without that, I just don't think that this could have happened. And I want to make something very clear. This is a business trip. This is way more working than it is holiday, and it will probably be stressful, and I will probably be exhausted just from jet lag. But next year at tax time, this trip will be written off because it's about the show. And what I gather from Villa Park and from that trip will hopefully add little bits of flavor to this program that you can't really get any other way. The one thing I found out about Super Thanks too was how hard it is to individually thank you for contributing. And I feel bad about that. I have a regular job. I coach a team. I've got a family. I had no idea how much support there was going to be. And so I apologize for not responding and thanking you individually, but I hope you feel the gratitude through YouTube of how important that part was to make this trip happen. I'd also like to sincerely thank and acknowledge the Vice President and General Manager of Midland Honda, Richard Davies. Huge Villa fan. But Midland Honda is the official sponsor of the Holy Trinity show Jet to Birmingham. And just like you and I have been brought together by this football club in this weird and wonderful transatlantic kind of way, well, the club has also brought me and Richard together from across the country. And that's what football clubs do. They bring people together. But I have better news. Richard is coming along on this trip, and he's got family in the area, so this is going to be deeply meaningful for him. But to have a fellow Canadian Villa fan along is going to be awesome. So listen, if you're an Ontario-based Aston Villa fan, maybe you're a Toronto Lion, for goodness sake, go support Richard and his team at Midland Honda. Get yourself a brand new 2023 Honda CR-V. In fact, get his and hers. And don't go cheap on the trim package either. Life's too short for a crappy stereo. And lastly, I've got to acknowledge a chap that I've never even met before. An absolute legend by the name of Tony Gibson. This guy's a hardcore Villa fan. In fact, the sweater he's wearing, this is the middle of summer. That's how big a Villa fan he is. But this is Tony Gibson. And Tony, like many awesome Villa fans, reached out to me through social media and said he watches the show. We started talking back and forth, and Tony has graciously and generously donated his suite in the Holy Trinity Road stand for me and the entourage to use during this trip. And that is absolutely huge because, number one, I'm doing commentary again this summer and I'm very rusty. So I'm going to practice by doing some Villa games, which is a bucket list item for me. Also, I can't just be a supporter at a game. I need to work it. I need to feel like I'm part of the game somehow. So this is going to be a big experience doing commentary for Villa Forest and Villa Newcastle. I apologize in advance to anybody in suites 28 and 30. But also, we can record the show from the suite after, which is awesome. Think about having that and the pitch in the background as the backdrop. I can't thank Tony enough. And the reason why he can't be at those two games is because he's working remotely from his remote office. I've pieced a couple of things together about Tony. The impression I get is he's very clever and he's worked really hard, and now he's rewarding himself by playing really hard. Thank you, Tony, and I hope to get to meet you someday in person. I'm being sincere when I say this. I have dreamt of this scene my whole life, the walk up to Villa Park. And for one reason or another, I never actually wind up in the stadium watching the game. Isn't that weird? Either I've forgotten my ticket, or you show up and there's no game happening there, or suddenly I'm lost in a maze of row houses and now I wind up in Hockley, which is lovely and charming, very nice people in my dreams. So to actually be able to tangibly make this walk myself, I mean, it makes me tingle in my down belows. Hitting that book your trip now button was just an unbelievable experience because up until now, it's all been abstract. It's all fantasy. First newspapers, then, the sort of match of the day we got here on television. And then we get into the internet now, but finally, after 43 years, well, this is like consummating a marriage after courting somebody for 43 years. So I'm going to lose my Villa Park virginity against Nottingham Forest. And what that means, kids, is that I've never experienced the pleasure and delight of entering Villa Park. And of course, I'll be way too excited and it'll be over really, really fast. But that's why we're also going to the Newcastle game the week after. And I'd love to go see the U21s play Derby the Friday before the Newcastle game, but I have no idea how to get tickets or if you even can, but I'll try. And amazingly, on Easter Monday of that week, all the Birmingham clubs are in action. Baggies, Blues, and Walsall. So I think I'm actually going to go to Wales and watch Wrexham play Notts County in a massive National League fixture that could decide promotion and support my fellow Canadian Ryan Reynolds in the process. And to hopefully mark the next 100 shows on this platform, I think I have found the perfect brand affiliate to connect with that satisfies the whiskey and spirits lover in me. In fact, a lot of people say, how come you don't talk about your bottles at the beginning of the show? Well, two reasons. One, I got hosed by an affiliate marketing platform, and the company they represent offered zero support whatsoever. But also, do you know what? Distilleries do pretty well. They don't need me talking for free on this show about their product. That just doesn't make any sense. And there's also a moral issue. I realize you might be a young, tender, innocent Villa fan. You're as important to me as older and more mature Villa fans. And what I can tell you is you're not going to like whiskey for a very, very long time. But when you do, as I say to my own kids, your relationship with alcohol is going to be very important. It could be very good or it could be very bad. If it's good, you learn to appreciate it and savor it and also understand how hard it is to make certain spirits, the process, the tradition, the time. Learn to appreciate it, learn to use it responsibly. That's the perfect scenario. The company is called Flavier. And I've heard about this concept before, and I've always wanted to join a membership-oriented whiskey club because that's what it is. It's membership in a spirits club, and there's different tiers of membership, but every single month you receive, shipping included, a carefully curated collection of spirits, sometimes rare and unique. Other times there's a theme like all Irish whiskeys or all bourbons. So you and your friends, you sample these bottles, they're numbered and they have the flavor notes and the backstory. And when you find something you like, you order the full bottle at a member's rate from Flavier. Sometimes they send you a full bottle as part of your membership in a month. You can gift those memberships. What a great gift to receive. And at Christmas time, they even have these Advent calendars that are entirely made up of spirits, a really popular item. The only problem, of course, they don't service Canada. I'll have to work around that somehow sneakily, but they do provide shipping to the United States, all of the UK, Australia, and most of Europe. I'd love for you to give it a try. Let me know if you do, because the biggest question I get asked outside of Villa is, tell me about your whiskey collection. But it's not just the convenience and the concept and getting samplers and having little parties with your friends and tasting things and then getting the bottle you like. There's just something about the brand. There's an attitude, there's a lifestyle, a tone there that really speaks to me. In fact, I was doing my research. You know what they had in one of their samplers? They had the finest spirit I own, the Clase Azul Reposado tequila, which I've talked about on this show before. Imagine getting a sampler with really fine tequila. And by the way, really fine tequila, I think, beats any other spirit, including Scotch and other kinds of whiskey. So who knows? Maybe you'll get one of these in your samplers once, and then you can order the bottle as a member. Give it a try. I've put a link in the description below. Cheers! I hope you like it, and let me know how it goes. Again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for supporting this show and for helping me achieve what has basically been a 43-year dream to come see the Villa live. And it's going to be surreal. I can't wait to maybe even bump into you. Perhaps I'll do some man-on-the-street fan interviews prior to one of the games. Obviously, I'll still be doing shows. It'll be a little different doing them from there. So we'll see how that goes. And there's going to be some bumps and bruises. I'll do some other Villa-related stuff throughout the week, a Villa Park tour, of course. But until then, and my next show about the laws of the game, be well, and as always, up the mighty Villa.